I broke up with my girlfriend because I told her I was sick and needed help, but she went to an event with my sister instead. Am I blowing this out of proportion because I felt so bad? My girlfriend, 26, and I, 25, have been together for about a year. Most everything is great except one thing: when I tell her I'm sick, or I'm not feeling well, or I'm hurt. She refuses to believe me. If I have a cold, she tells me I'm faking it until it goes away, and then says, "See, you are fine." I'm rarely sick, so it's never been a major issue. But she has zero sympathy when I'm sick. She grew up with hypochondriac parents who were always sick with something, often self-diagnosing themselves with fatal maladies. She has limited contact with them, and when I met them, I was told by them that they don't have long to live. I get it, growing up in that household must have been awful. But what happened on Sunday just sent me over the edge. Girlfriend and my sister, 29, wanted to check out this event, and we were all supposed to go. I woke up with excruciating back pain and could barely breathe. Girlfriend got so mad at me for ruining this that she wouldn't speak to me. As she was about to leave, I asked her not to leave because I thought something was wrong. She said no and left. I threw up in my bed and eventually called my parents. I was too embarrassed to call 911, and my mother and brother hauled me to the hospital. I was whisked back, and after 20 minutes, I was diagnosed with kidney stones, fentanyl and gravel, and I had a CT scan and then went for a procedure to bust the kidney stones. Anyone questioning whether or not to have the procedure, do it. The side effects are nothing. 5 hours later, and I was laying on my parents' sofa in a haze. I have never, and hope to never, feel pain like that again in my life. I was sure I was going to die. The attending in the ER told me it's worse than childbirth, and that they've had it before too. I didn't text my girlfriend throughout because I really didn't have the strength or foresight. I was drugged up and uncomfortable. My sister found out that I had been in the emergency room, and soon after my girlfriend called me. She was pissed off I didn't call her. Then I reminded her that I begged her not to leave, as I thought something was wrong. She got quiet and eked out an apology. I got furious and said something rather nasty things. Among them, F off and some other unsavory things. In fairness, I was on dope, still sore, peeing blood, and felt like someone had punched me in the gut. Standing was incredibly painful. I needed to take 2 days off of work and school. I rested in bed, and the only thing you can think is the person who should have been there didn't even believe me. She's texted me this week a formal apology and wants one in return for saying nasty things to her. I've been avoiding her texts and calls. I felt like shit this week and picked something up in the air, so I laid low, took a few days off work, and relaxed. She wants to meet tonight and talk about everything, but I'm still so mad I don't know if I should hold off seeing her. Is this as big a transgression as I feel like it is? Am I blowing this out of proportion because I felt so shitty? I just am so annoyed and angry. Relevant comments. If you want to work through this, meet up and hear her out. If she's focused on getting her apology from you instead of discussing what happened, then I would bail. Note that I think you should apologize for the specific words you chose to express your anger. I don't think you're wrong for being angry, but you could have expressed it differently, without swearing at her, etc. If you get through that, I would be interested to hear how she plans to change her behavior moving forward. You had a medical emergency, and she basically left you to fend for yourself. I think it's possible that this was a wake-up call for her, that not everyone she encounters in this world will be like her parents, and that she needs to work on those issues. But I also think it's possible that she's just trying to assuage her guilt here, and will end up trying to shift blame back onto you for not doing enough to convince her this was a serious health problem. Update. 4 days after the first post. I was still pretty burned after I posted here, but knew we had to speak. Despite my protests and the time we had set, she was at my door when I got home and sort of popped out and scared the shit out of me. She had her arms of full things: chocolates, a video game, a card, beer, and dinner. You guys were right. Her family thing meant that she just never thought that people could really be sick or that it would just have a quick onset like kidney stones. She apologized and almost wouldn't let me get a word in edgewise. She read from her phone and had typed out a lot of notes in her phone, including why it was a mistake for me to dump her. I told her how upset I was and just how bad things were at the hospital and why I was mad. She kept saying she was sorry and promised to deal with her problems. She revealed she texted her therapist about what happened, and they had a meeting before she met up with me. He gave her some strategies and offered advice and things to say. She came with the right answers and seems to think it's a big deal. She didn't ask for an apology and dropped that subject altogether. She camped out of my apartment all weekend so that I wouldn't change my mind and hung around with my friends when they came over. She was apologetic all weekend and took it upon herself to take care of me, to make up for when she wasn't there. It was a bit strange, but I didn't protest a lazy weekend as I still didn't feel 100%, so her laying around was fine. By the end of the weekend, I wasn't chapped anymore and was fine to move on with life. She kept asking if we were okay, and I must have reassured her 250,000 times. My brother came by randomly to bust my balls about a kidney stone and to subtly try and steal beer. He saw my girlfriend and busted her balls, and she played along and thanked him for taking me to the hospital. He attempted to get compensating from her in the form of assistance with his chores, but she danced around that. She was worried my family hates her, but I didn't really give them a full rundown, so they didn't really know how peeved I was. Things seem okay for now. I'm going to be watchful and make sure the behavior doesn't crop up anymore. But everything seems okay. Thanks for all your advice. Relevant comments. Comment. It sounds like she is legitimately putting an effort to get over her issues rather than just trying to appease you. I'm glad things are working out. Comment. I don't really like that she basically forced her presence upon you and didn't give you any space. Seems manipulative. OP. I could have gotten rid of her had I wanted her gone. She apologized pretty thoroughly and had good objections ready in case I wanted to argue. Our usual is that we'll spend the weekend together at someone's place, and this weekend it happened to be mine. I preferred it that way as I could lay on my couch. Comment. Man, if someone put that much effort into apologizing to me, I'd be thoroughly flattered. OP, I was pretty happy. Scaring the bejesus out of me at my door, I could have done without, but I'm not complaining.